LeBron James calls Stephen Curry at 3 a.m., crying. The reason will break your heart. It was 3:07 in the morning. The world was asleep, but not LeBron James. He sat on the edge of his bed, phone in hand. His eyes were red, his voice cracked, and he did something he hadn't done in years. He called someone and let them hear him cry. The person on the other end, Stephen Curry. They weren't best friends. They weren't teammates. They were rivals, two of the greatest basketball players to ever play the game. But at that moment, none of that mattered, because what LeBron was going through was bigger than sports, bigger than pride. It was about family, about loss, and about a moment that changed everything. Let me tell you what happened that night, and why it still brings people to tears. It started a few days earlier. LeBron had just come off a tough road trip. Games weren't going well. Critics were circling. The usual noise around an athlete at the top. But behind the scenes, something else was brewing. Something heavier. Something no amount of fame or money could fix. His mother, Gloria James, wasn't feeling well. She'd been tired for weeks. Doctors said stress. She said something didn't feel right. LeBron kept telling her to rest, to take it easy. But deep down, he felt it too. Something was wrong. Then came the call, the kind of call no one wants to get. The hospital. They said she needed more tests, that the results were unclear, that they needed to do more. LeBron dropped everything, flew straight there, sat by her side, didn't leave, not once. He held her hand, told her stories, made her laugh. Even when he wanted to cry, even when he wanted to scream, even when the fear hit him like a wall. 3 nights later, he finally went home. Exhausted, empty. He couldn't sleep, just stared at the ceiling, thinking, praying, hoping. And then, he picked up his phone, scrolled through his contacts, stopped at a name. Stephen Curry. He hesitated, then pressed call. It rang. Once, twice, then a sleepy voice answered. Hello? It was Stephen, still half asleep. He looked at the clock. 3:12 a.m. He knew this wasn't normal, so he sat up, cleared his throat, and said softly, Hey man, what's going on? And that's when LeBron broke. I don't know what to do, he whispered. I'm scared. I can't lose her. There was silence. A long pause. Then Stephen spoke. I'm here, he said. Tell me what's happening. And LeBron did. He told him everything. How his mom had been sick. How the doctors weren't giving clear answers. How he felt helpless. How he felt like he was failing her. Like he should have done more. Known more. Seen it sooner. Stephen listened. Didn't interrupt. Didn't judge. Just listened. Because he understood. He knew what it meant to have a strong mother. To owe everything to her. To carry her strength with you every single day. And now, LeBron was breaking. And Stephen was the only one who saw it. Because sometimes, the strongest people need someone to hold them up. Sometimes, even legends need to cry. And sometimes, you find comfort in the last place you expect. Stephen Curry didn't hang up. He didn't say, I'm tired, call me in the morning. He didn't make excuses. He just stayed on the line and listened, because he knew what it felt like to carry the weight of the world. To be a father, a husband, a son, to feel like you have to be strong for everyone else, even when you're falling apart inside. So he sat there, phone pressed to his ear, and heard one of the toughest men in sports break down. LeBron James, a man who had faced pressure on the biggest stages, who had won championships, who had stared down giants. But now he was just a son, scared, tired, helpless. I don't know what I'd do if she's gone, LeBron whispered. Stephen didn't rush to fix it, didn't say she'll be fine, didn't offer false hope. Instead, he said something simple. I've got you. That's all. 2 words. But they meant everything. Because in that moment, LeBron wasn't alone anymore. He had someone who understood, someone who wouldn't judge him, someone who saw past the rivalry, past the headlines, past the fame, and saw him, just a man trying to hold on, trying not to lose the person who made him who he is. Then Stephen started talking about his own mother, Sonia Curry, how she raised him, how she never gave up on him, even when scouts said he was too small, too slow, not good enough, how she stood by him through every injury, every doubt, every setback. She's my rock, Stephen said, and I don't know where I'd be without her. LeBron wiped his eyes. He hadn't expected this. A conversation with a rival turning into one of the most real moments of his life. They talked for over an hour, about their moms, about their kids, about the pressure, about how hard it is to stay strong when your whole world feels shaky. And when they finally hung up, LeBron felt something shift. Not because the problem was solved. His mom still needed answers, still needed treatment, but he felt something he hadn't felt in days. Hope, strength, and the comfort of knowing someone had his back. Even if that someone wore a different jersey, even if that someone was supposed to be his competition. Sometimes, life reminds us that people are more than labels, more than headlines, more than stats or rankings. Sometimes, life reminds us that behind every superstar is a human being, with fears, with pain, with love. And sometimes, that reminder comes at 3:01 a.m., through a phone call that changes everything. The next morning, Stephen Curry didn't tell anyone. No interviews, no social media post, no "I just had a deep convo with LeBron" tweet. Nothing. Because real men don't share moments like that for likes. They keep them sacred. But something changed in Stephen too. That late-night call stayed with him, played in his head as he got his kids ready for school, as he drove to practice, even as he warmed up before a game. He thought about what LeBron said, about how scared he was, about how helpless he felt. And Stephen realized something. This wasn't just about basketball. It wasn't even about fame. It was about family, and how quickly it can all slip away. Stephen thought about his own mom, Sonia, how strong she's always been, how she raised him and his brother and sister, how she held the family together when his dad, Del Curry, was on the road playing in the NBA, how she never asked for anything, just wanted her boys to be good men, to work hard, to love each other. And now, after that call, Stephen saw everything differently. He started calling his mom more often, not just on birthdays or holidays, but randomly, just to check in, just to say, "Hey, I love you." He started showing up at her house without telling her, bringing food, bringing the kids, making sure she knew how much she meant. And he started talking to his teammates differently, with more patience, more understanding, because he realized something powerful. People are going through things you can't see, pain they hide, fears they carry, and sometimes, all they need is someone to say, "I'm here, I've got you." That's what LeBron needed that night. And that's what Stephen gave him, without judgment, without ego, just two men, two fathers, two sons, talking in the dark, trying to hold on. Back at the hospital, LeBron stayed close. He rearranged his schedule, cleared everything else, didn't care about interviews, didn't show up for photo shoots, didn't even check his phone much. He just sat by his mom's side, holding her hand, talking to her. Sometimes she'd sleep for hours. Sometimes she'd wake up and smile. Sometimes she'd cry. And when she did, LeBron would wipe her tears, tell her it was going to be okay, even when he didn't know if it would be, even when fear still gripped his heart. One night, as the lights in the hospital room dimmed, Gloria looked at him. Her eyes were tired, but full of love. "You're a good son," she whispered. "I'm proud of you." LeBron's throat tightened. He kissed her forehead. "I love you, Mama." That moment, it wasn't on camera, wasn't posted online, didn't get a million views. But it mattered more than all of that. Because sometimes, the most powerful moments happen in silence, in private, between people who love each other. The next few days brought more tests, more waiting, more uncertainty. But something had changed in LeBron. He wasn't hiding his emotions anymore. He let himself feel everything. The pain, the fear, the hope, and the memories. He thought back to when he was just a kid, growing up in Akron. No money, no mansion, just him and his mom. She worked hard to give him what he needed. Missed meals so he could eat. Drove him to basketball practice, even when she was exhausted. She believed in him before anyone else did, before the world knew his name. Now it was his turn to believe in her, to fight for her, to stay by her side, no matter how long it took, no matter how scared he felt. And every time doubt crept in, he remembered that call, remembered Stephen's voice, remembered the words, "I've got you." And somehow, that made all the difference. Weeks passed. The tests came back. It wasn't cancer. That was the good news. But it wasn't all clear either. Gloria James had a serious heart condition, one that needed treatment, monitoring, lifestyle changes. She would be okay, but only if she took care of herself. And that meant slowing down, resting more, letting others take care of her for a change. LeBron read the report twice. Then he read it again. He asked the doctor every question he could think of. Finally, he sat beside his mom and told her everything. No sugarcoating, no hiding the truth, because he knew she deserved that. She listened quietly. Then she smiled. "I'm still here," she said. LeBron nodded, tears in his eyes. "Yeah," he whispered. "You are." And just like that, everything changed. Not because the danger was gone, but because they faced it together. After leaving the hospital, LeBron called Stephen, just to say thank you. Stephen answered on the first ring. "You don't have to say anything," he said. "I know." LeBron laughed through his tears. I needed someone that night. "And I'm glad I was there," Stephen said. They talked for a while, about their moms, about life, about how fragile it all is. And then LeBron said something that stuck with Stephen forever. "We spend so much time trying to be strong for everyone else." He paused. "But sometimes, being strong means letting someone see you fall." Stephen didn't respond right away, because he knew that was true, so true. And that moment, it became more than just a phone call between two athletes. It became proof that even the strongest people need help, that even legends cry, that even rivals can be real friends when it matters most. And that sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is let someone see you at your weakest, because in that moment, you find strength you never knew you had. That late-night call between LeBron James and Stephen Curry, it didn't make headlines, didn't trend on social media, didn't get a million views, but it changed lives. Not just theirs, but the lives of people who heard their story. People like Marcus. He was a 28-year-old father in Chicago, working 2 jobs, raising his little girl alone. He hadn't talked to his own mom in months. Too busy, too stressed, too proud. Then he saw a short clip of LeBron talking about that night. Saw him say, "I broke down. I needed help." Marcus watched it 3 times. Then he picked up the phone, dialed his mom. She answered after 2 rings. "Hey, Mama," he said quietly. "It's been too long." And they talked, for over an hour, about everything. About life, about how much he missed her, about how scared he'd been to show weakness. And when he hung up, he cried, because sometimes, seeing someone else be real, gives you permission to be real too. Then there was Sarah, a high school basketball player from Texas, tough as nails on the court. But at home, her dad had been sick. She didn't tell anyone, didn't want pity, didn't want attention, just wanted to keep going. Then she read about LeBron calling Stephen, how he let himself cry, let himself ask for help. And something inside her shifted. The next day, she told her coach what was going on, told her teammates, and instead of pushing them away, they showed up, brought food, sent messages, held her up when she couldn't hold herself. Because sometimes, strength isn't about silence. It's about sharing your pain, and letting others carry part of the load. That's what LeBron and Stephen showed the world. That even legends have fears. That even warriors cry. That even rivals can be brothers, when it matters most. And that is the most powerful message of all, because it reminds us that we're never truly alone. Even in our darkest moments, there's always someone, a friend, a teammate, a rival, even a stranger, who might be exactly who you need at exactly the right time. So if you've made it this far, thank you. Thank you for listening, for letting this story into your heart. Maybe you needed to hear it today. Maybe you needed to remember that it's okay to feel, to hurt, to cry, to ask for help. Because strength isn't hiding your pain. It's facing it, with courage, with honesty, with someone by your side. And now it's your turn. Call someone, talk to someone, tell someone you care, because one conversation can change everything, just like it did for LeBron and Stephen and everyone who heard their story.